We stand upon the edge of a swiftly passing moment. The years do not ask our permission to move. They march with quiet certainty. Before we can even count the hours, a year has fled, and with it the chances we neglected. Yet the wonder is this: time is not a river carrying us helplessly, but a gift placed in our hands to be used with intention. Too often, we live as though time were some mighty force sweeping us away, indifferent to our will, our hopes, and our effort. We complain of being carried along, of losing days and years without realizing that each hour is given to us not as a chain that binds, but as an opportunity that invites. Time does not own us. It is entrusted to us. Like a coin pressed into the palm of a steward, it is not meant to be wasted, for the spender will be asked what became of the gift. When we treat time as a river dragging us, we accept passivity as our destiny. We convince ourselves that our future is already written, that our days are only to be endured, not shaped. Yet nothing could be further from the truth. Every sunrise is God's reminder that the world is still open, that your story has pages unwritten, and that your hands, not the current, are meant to turn them. Time asks you not simply to drift, but to steer, to chart a course, and to move with purpose. The difference between drifting and steering is intention. One lives in reaction, the other in creation. Many spend their lives reacting, waking because they must, working because it is required, sleeping because they are tired. Their days blur into one another, a series of motions that carry them nowhere. But those who live with intention know that every moment is a seed. To spend time is to plant something, whether weeds or wheat. The intentional man or woman does not ask, "What is happening to me?" but rather, "What am I building with what I have been given?" To live with intention requires a change in how we see the ordinary, minutes, hours, days. These are not scraps of existence, but treasures. A conversation with a friend may seem small, yet it can plant the seed of encouragement that blooms years later. Reading a book may seem quiet, but it sharpens a mind that will shape decisions for decades. Even solitude, often mistaken for emptiness, can become the fertile ground where visions are born. Nothing is wasted when it is offered with purpose. Nothing is redeemed when it is left to chance. Yet many fear that to live intentionally means to never rest, to chase endlessly without pause. That is a mistake. Rest is not waste, it is investment. The farmer does not accuse the field of laziness when it lies fallow for a season. Rather, he knows that soil restored will yield greater fruit. In the same way, our time of stillness is not surrender to the river, but strengthening for the journey. To rest with intention is to honor the gift as much as to labor with it. There is also a danger in imagining that we must wait for some grand occasion to begin. The tragedy of wasted time is not that we lack opportunity, but that we despise the small ones. We tell ourselves that tomorrow or the next year will be different, and so we waste today. But the truth is that every tomorrow is shaped by what is done in the present moment. If you cannot honor 1 hour, you will not honor a year. If you cannot be faithful with small beginnings, you will not be entrusted with greater things. Time, then, is not an enemy to fight, but a companion to cherish. It is not sweeping us away, but walking beside us, waiting for us to decide what to make of it. The measure of your life will not be the number of hours you possessed, but the meaning you drew out of them. You cannot add more years to your life, but you can add more life to your years. Think, then, of what you hold in your hand each day. Do not look at the hours as burdens, nor at the years as threats. Look at them as the builder looks at bricks, or the painter at colors. With them, you construct a dwelling place for your soul. You shape a vision others may follow. You craft a legacy that will outlive your days. The river does not carry you. You carry the gift of time, and how you spend it will determine not only the path of your journey, but the meaning of your story. The smallest daily choice quietly builds the architecture of the life you will one day live. We often think that greatness is born in the grand decisions, the turning points that shake the earth and demand attention. Yet more often than not, it is the unnoticed decision made in silence, the small step taken without applause, that lays the foundation of our future. A life is not built in a day but through days. And each day, whether we perceive it or not, shapes the structure of what we are becoming. Consider how a building rises. No one begins with a tower, one begins with a stone. Brick by brick, placed in order, a structure takes form until at last it is something that can be seen from afar. Our lives are no different. We imagine ourselves reaching high places, success, character, peace, or influence, but these are never reached by leaps alone. They are the result of hidden consistency, the steady laying of stone upon stone, until the unseen work becomes visible to the world. The danger is that small choices rarely announce their weight. Eating a single unhealthy meal does not seem destructive. Skipping one act of discipline does not appear fatal. Telling one careless lie does not crumble trust. But these things, repeated, form a pattern, and patterns form destinies. Likewise, the noble acts appear modest. Reading a single page does not make you wise, but a page each day sharpens a mind over years. Saving a little does not make you wealthy, but daily restraint builds freedom in time. Choosing kindness once may seem trivial, but when repeated, it sculpts a soul that others come to trust. Small choices repeated become character, and character is destiny. The truth is both hopeful and sobering. You are building your life whether you intend to or not. The architecture does not pause because you are distracted. Every choice contributes to the structure, every word spoken, every thought entertained, every habit repeated. Life does not wait for your permission. It forms itself around what you do with it daily. To neglect this is to awaken years later and wonder why the building looks so different from the vision you once dreamed. Yet, if this truth is sobering, it is also wonderfully liberating. For if every small choice builds, then every small choice can redeem. You need not rebuild your whole life in one grand gesture. You need only begin with the next stone. A decision made today, to speak truth, to exercise discipline, to forgive, to learn, to show gratitude may seem small, but it reshapes the future in ways unseen. What is begun in smallness does not remain small. Like the seed buried in the soil, it breaks the ground in time and becomes a tree others may rest under. The quiet power of daily choice lies in its cumulative force. Just as drops of water hollow out stone not by violence but by persistence, so daily actions carve the shape of our existence. Discipline builds strength not by a single act but by repetition. Wisdom is gathered not by one grand revelation but by the steady collection of insights. Love is deepened not by one declaration but by countless gestures that prove its truth. The smallest daily choice, multiplied over time, becomes unignorable. Therefore, the question is not whether you are building, but what you are building. Is the architecture of your life one that can stand the storms? Are the bricks you lay today aligned with the vision you claim to seek, or are you, through neglect, constructing something fragile, something that will not endure? It is easier to ignore small cracks than to repair great ruins. To attend to the little things is wisdom, to despise them is folly. And yet, let us not confuse this with perfectionism. You will falter, you will misplace stones, you will leave gaps. But the builder who persists in correcting and continuing will always surpass the dreamer who never begins for fear of error. Do not demand that every choice be flawless. Demand instead that you do not cease in making them with intention. Even a crooked wall can be straightened if one notices early. In the end, the life you inhabit tomorrow is being drafted today. Others may look at the grand structure when it is complete and call it fortune, talent, or chance, but you will know the truth. It was built quietly in the unnoticed faithfulness of daily choices. Your architecture is rising even now. Every action is a stone, every thought is mortar, every habit is scaffolding. What you choose today is what you will live within tomorrow. True change begins not in the circumstances around you, but in the character within you. It is a common illusion to believe that if only the world would alter, if opportunities were greater, if people were kinder, if luck favored us more, then life would be transformed. We imagine that our unhappiness or our failure is tied chiefly to the conditions we face, but history and experience prove otherwise. Two people may stand in the same storm. One is broken by it, the other strengthened. The difference does not lie in the storm, but in the strength of the soul that faces it. Circumstances, though powerful, are never final. They rise and fall like tides, beyond our control. Wealth may vanish overnight, health may falter, friendships may fade, and opportunities may close. To build life upon the hope that these will remain constant is to build on sand. Yet the character within, courage, integrity, faith, discipline, love, these are stones laid deep, unshaken by the winds. It is not the external shifts that define the course of a person's life, but the inner resources with which they meet them. Consider how often people chase new surroundings in search of transformation. They move to a new city, seek a new career, enter a new relationship, convinced that change outside will heal the emptiness inside. And for a moment, novelty deceives them. The newness feels like growth, but soon the same discontent follows, for they have carried themselves into the new world unchanged. Circumstances can set the stage, but they cannot rewrite the actor. The heart, if untouched, will play the same role wherever it goes. This is why true change must begin within. The man who learns patience discovers peace not only in silence, but also in chaos. The woman who cultivates gratitude sees light even in dark places. The soul that embraces discipline finds freedom in limitation, while the one that surrenders to bitterness finds chains even in abundance. Life is not what happens to us, but what grows out of us. Circumstances are the soil, but character is the root. It is the root that determines whether the plant thrives or withers, regardless of the weather. Moreover, inner change grants mastery over outer unpredictability. The world will always be in flux, opportunities gained and lost, challenges appearing without warning. If our sense of direction depends solely on the shifting winds, we will be forever adrift, but the one who anchors identity in character stands firm. Storms may strike, yet they reveal strength rather than destroy it. Hardship becomes a teacher rather than a tyrant. Loss becomes a path to wisdom rather than despair. The unchanging within gives stability to the ever-changing without. It is easy, however, to resist this truth, for it demands responsibility. To blame circumstance is comforting, for it places the burden elsewhere. If failure is due only to the unfairness of life, then we are innocent. But if change is found within, then the challenge is ours to face. Growth asks for courage, for honesty, for humility. It requires us to confront not the world, but ourselves. And this is the harder battle, yet it is the only battle that leads to real transformation. The paradox is that once we change within, the world itself appears to change. Not because it has shifted, but because our eyes have. What once seemed unbearable becomes manageable. What once appeared meaningless reveals hidden value. The unkindness of others does not dictate our peace when forgiveness rules the heart. Scarcity does not cripple when contentment is practiced. Difficulty does not paralyze when resilience has been nurtured. By altering character, the very same circumstances that once defeated us can be faced with strength, even with grace. So, ask not first for the world to change in your favor, but for the courage to change yourself. For when the heart is steady, no storm can drown it. When the mind is disciplined, no chaos can unseat it. When the soul is grounded in truth, no lie can enslave it. The inner life is the wellspring from which every action flows. Change that begins there is not fleeting. It endures, it radiates. It transforms not only the one who embraces it, but those who encounter them. In the end, it is not the circumstances you conquer, but the self, and in conquering the self, you discover the power to endure, to grow, and to create a life that no shifting tide can undo. For true change is not a gift the world bestows. It is a fire lit within, and once lit, it becomes the light by which all else is seen. The future rewards only those who dare to prepare, for hope without action is but a shadow. Every human heart dreams of a better tomorrow, but dreams alone are powerless if they remain unaccompanied by effort. Hope, when not joined with labor, is like a lantern without flame, attractive in form, but incapable of lighting the path ahead. The future does not bow to wishful thinking. It bends only to those who sow diligently in the present. Preparation is the silent architect of destiny. The victories we admire in others are not sudden explosions of fortune, but the fruit of long, hidden cultivation. A writer's masterpiece is not born in the moment of inspiration alone, but in years of practice, discipline, and revision. The athlete's triumph in the arena is decided not on the day of competition, but in the countless hours of unseen training. The student's success is not in the examination hall, but in the quiet persistence of daily study. The future smiles not on those who merely wish, but on those who have dared to ready themselves before the day of testing. To hope without preparing is to mock oneself. It is to stand at the door of opportunity with empty hands, expecting abundance where none has been sown. Imagine a farmer gazing over his barren fields, hoping for harvest, though he never scattered seed nor tended soil. His hope is not noble, it is folly, yet many live this way, desiring success, fulfillment, peace, or purpose, yet refusing the discipline that alone can give them shape. They speak of what they will do, what they might achieve, and what they hope will come, but without preparation, all such talk drifts away like smoke on the wind. Daring to prepare requires courage, for it means sacrificing the ease of the present for the promise of the future. It means waking early when sleep is tempting, persisting in study when distractions call, saving when spending is easier, practicing when applause is absent. Preparation is rarely glamorous, often lonely, and frequently unnoticed. Yet it is precisely in these hidden sacrifices that greatness is forged. The world will one day see the harvest, but only you will know the cost of the seed. There is also a humility in preparation, for it acknowledges that one is not yet ready. To prepare is to admit limitation while refusing to remain limited. It is the resolve of a soul that says, "I am not yet what I must be, but I will labor until I am." Hope that does not bend to this humility becomes arrogance expecting reward without readiness. But when humility joins with hope, the result is diligence, and diligence never returns empty-handed. Some resist preparation because they fear it will be wasted if the future does not unfold as planned. They ask, why practice if the stage may never be mine? Why learn if the opportunity may not come? But preparation is never wasted. Even if the stage shifts, the discipline remains. The one who trains the mind, heart, and body is always more fit for life's demands than the one who idles. The future may surprise you, but if you have prepared, you will meet surprise with strength. To neglect preparation because of uncertainty is to ensure defeat. To prepare in faith is to be ready for whatever dawn brings. Hope is a beautiful beginning, but it must not be mistaken for an end. Without action, it is but a shadow of what could be, a reflection with no substance, a promise without fulfillment. Hope whispers of what might come, but preparation builds the bridge that carries you there. Without the bridge, the dream remains on the far side, visible but unreachable. With preparation, even the most distant vision begins to draw near, step by steady step. Thus, the call is clear: do not merely hope, prepare. Do not simply dream, act. The seeds you scatter today will meet you again in the harvest of tomorrow. You cannot control every detail of the future, but you can control your readiness to meet it. And readiness is the difference between those who watch opportunities pass by and those who grasp them when they appear. In the end, the future does not belong to the wishful but to the prepared. It is not enough to carry hope in your heart. You must also carry tools in your hand. Let your hope be more than a shadow. Give it flesh through discipline, breath through persistence, strength through labor. For when the future arrives, and it surely will, it will reward not the dreamers who slept, but the doers who dared to prepare.